everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time we'll be doing a fill. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm going in with a pair of nippers to remove her bling, and once I get all the bling off, I will be using a coarse drill bit to remove her gel polish. And as you can see, her nail decals stay on really good. These were the ones that I recently did a review on, which were the ones from Apple Discount Nail Shop 17. That's her Instagram name, so be sure to check them out. They looked really good and stayed on the whole 2 weeks. So I'm done removing the bling. Now I'm going to go in with my coarse drill bit, and it is a safety bit. If you're using a coarse drill bit, you do want to make sure that it is a safety bit, only because it is really coarse and you don't want to file any of their natural nail or even their skin with this one because it will cut them really bad. So again, this is a safety coarse drill bit, and I'm using that to remove the gel polish. And you remove it just like if you were filing the acrylic. You file it the same way. You just file all of the nail until all of the gel is gone, and then as always, make sure that you keep that drill moving, because if you leave it in one spot for too long, it will cause friction and it will cause your client's nail to burn. And you will notice that there is something red under her nails, and that is just hair color. So just in case anybody was wondering, she recently colored her hair red and she didn't wear any gloves, so it's all under her nails. So that's just what that is. Okay, and after we finish removing the gel polish, I'm going to go in with a cuticle pusher to push back those cuticles. We're going to do that on both hands, and after this, we're going to go in with a sanding band, and it is a 180 sanding band, and that's to remove the shine from the natural nails. As always, this step is very important. You want to make sure that you get all of that shine from the natural nail to help prevent lifting. And just a little reminder that when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're not filing too hard. We're literally just filing to remove that shiny layer. As everybody know, our body produces all type of oils, which causes our nails to be shiny. So if we were to just lay the acrylic over our shiny nails, our nail or the acrylic will lift. So remember, just go in to remove that shiny layer. We're not filing to thin out the nail, we're just removing that shiny layer. And after this, we're going to just dust the nails off, and we're going to go in with a primer. And for my primer, I'll be using my OPI Bondex. And you guys know that the only reason why I use this one is because I have a lot of it. But I recommend you just stick with the same name brand just to be safe. But anyways, I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink, and my brush is by Alpha Brush in a number 9, and I do have a promo code for them. So I'm just doing one bead closer to the cuticle area, just pat it down into place and brushing it down towards the tip. And then as always, if you need to go back and add a little bit more to the tip, that's fine. Just remember to look at your nail from different angles and just add where it's needed. Don't just get to adding acrylic just everywhere, because you will have a lot of not lifting, but you will have a lot of filing to do. So work smarter and not harder. So I'm going to slow it down in real time. So I dip my brush into the liquid in the powder, place my bead down closer to the cuticle area, and as you can see, I'm just patting it so it's really close to the cuticle but not to where it's just flooding the cuticle. And then we just gently feather it down towards the tip. Remember, when you're doing this, you don't want to brush too hard, because you still want most of that product to stay where you placed it, which is around that cuticle area. And then as you can see, I use the side of the brush to clean up the sides of the nails just so it doesn't take away from our shape. And then I'm going to go ahead and do another bead right in the middle and brushing it down towards the tip. And remember, you just add wherever you need it. If you don't need another bead at the tip, that's fine. Just do one closer to the cuticle area. But I needed one to make sure that my tip was nice and thick. So again, we're going to move over to the other nail, and it's the same technique. Dip our brush into the liquid, into the powder, then we place our bead closer to the cuticle area. You gently pat it into place, and then you brush it down towards the tip. It's always going to be the same steps. It's just a matter of practicing and knowing how much product to pick up, and that's really just the key, just repetition. And then also always remember to go in with the tip of your brush and clean around that cuticle area to make sure that it's nice and neat. So same thing, we picked up our bead, we're going to place it closer to that cuticle area, pat it down, and then we're going to brush it down towards the tip. So it's always the same thing. I could say this a million times, but it's always the same thing. It's just, like I said, a matter of practicing and just finding what works for you, but it's always going to be the same steps. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other hand. And again, I do want to mention for the 1 millionth time that I am using my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink. And yes, this is the one that I always use unless I'm doing like the ombre effect. But other than that, I always use the pink one. And as you can see, it's almost clear. Like you can barely tell that it's any pink. The only time you can tell that it's pink is when I wipe it off on my paper towel. But other than that, it looks clear, which is why I use it for my glass nails. But I do have it clear. I just never really used it because I realized that this one was just clear as well. And then I'm using my Alpha brush in a number 9, and it is a oval shape. And then I do have a promo code for them, so I'll leave that down in the description. But for the 1000th time, this technique will be the same. We're going to go ahead and fill the rest of the nails in. Alrighty, so we're almost done. I'm on the last finger, but one thing that I forgot to mention is that, as you can see, I wipe my brush off a lot when I'm working. So you want to make sure that you're doing that, because if not, all that acrylic that you see on my paper towel would be stuck on my brush. So make sure that you keep your brush really clean And then also after each set, you want to make sure that you dip your brush into brush cleaner and let it soak for about 10 sorry, not 10 seconds, but about 10 minutes. And you want to do this after each client. If not, your brush will mess up, and your brush is literally the most important, or I guess one of the most important tools of doing nails. So you want to make sure that you clean it really good, take really good care of it, because that is what creates a perfect set. So after this, we're gonna go ahead and just reshape our nails, and this is something that you always have to do, just because the acrylic kind of takes away from the shape, and also just, you know, tear and wear on the nails. So I'm using a 100 nail file, and we are just going to reshape the nails. Remember, when you're doing a coffin shape, you file the sides at a 45-degree angle and the free edge or the tip of the nail at a 90-degree angle. So once we're done reshaping the nails, I'm going to go in with a fine drill bit, and as always, I focus around that cuticle area. I start from the right side, working my way over to the left side, and I just go back and forth until I'm able to see where their cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. And then I use the belly of my drill bit to just file the rest of the nail to make sure that it's nice and smooth. And then also, just a little reminder, the little red spots on the sides, it's not blood, it's just the hair color that she had under her nails, because like I said earlier, she recently colored her hair, and she just has hair color around her cuticles and under her nails. So remember, when you're filing the acrylic, this is probably one of the most important steps other than prepping the nail correctly. This has to be the most important thing about doing acrylic nails, because I promise you that if you do not do this correctly, you will get lifting. It doesn't matter if you're prepping the nail right, if you're sizing your nails correctly, if you're doing everything else right, but if you're not filing around that cuticle area really good, you will get lifting. And I know that preventing lifting is probably one of the hardest things to do and the most frustrating things when you're doing acrylic nails. It was to the point where when I first started, I literally gave up from doing nails, because it was just embarrassing to, you know, do somebody's nails and then like 2 or 3 days later they come off. So I promise, the key is to make sure that you're filing really close to that cuticle area, to where you're able to see where the cuticle is, where their natural nail is, and where the acrylic is, and you will prevent lifting that way. It will take a little bit of practice, but that's all you have to do. So after we're finished filing the nails, we're going to go in with a buffer. And as always, this is just to get rid of any of the scratches left from your e-file and to make sure that our nail is nice and smooth. You don't want to skip this step, because if not, you will be able to see all those scratches over your polish. And even if you're not doing polish, I had somebody ask me this question. They were like, do I have to file and buff the nail even if I'm not doing polish? Yes, you do have to file around that cuticle, file the whole nail to make sure that it's nice and smooth. smooth, and then buff the nails to make sure that it's completely smooth. It doesn't matter, like I said, if you're not applying polish, you still have to make sure that you don't get any lifting and that your nails are nice and smooth. But anyways, I went ahead and just dusted the nails off, and after this I'm going to go in with an alcohol wipe just to clean the nails off. You could have your client go wash their hands, but I just use alcohol wipes. Alrighty, so for the nail art part, we're gonna go in with this red polish in the color Dragon Fire, which is my all-time favorite red polish by La Palm, and this is just the regular polish, and I'm doing the drip effect, and then I'm gonna come in and sprinkle some glitter over it. So as always, when I'm doing the drip effect, I do like a little circle, and then I drag it down, and then I connect them at the bottom, and usually I only do like 3 drips, or depending on what finger it is, but a lot of the time I just do 3. And then I'm gonna go in with some loose glitter, and I'm literally just gonna be sprinkling it over the top of the nail. At first I tried dabbing it in with a brush, but that didn't work, so that's when I went ahead and just grabbed it with the tip of my fingers and just sprinkled it over the nail. I don't want the whole polish to be filled with glitter. I literally just want like a sprinkled effect, if that makes sense. After that, we're gonna go in with that same Dragon Fire, and this is a regular polish, and I'm gonna do that on the ring finger, and this will be a finger with all red bling. And I think I've mentioned this before, but these La Palm gel polishes are actually, it's a dual pack. It comes with a regular polish and a gel polish. But I used to get them from my local nail supply store, and then they stopped selling them. But anyways, this next color is by Madam Glam. It's from their Gelementary collection, and it's in the color Freshman Year. And then I'm using my white gel polish in the color Perfect White, which is also by Madam Glam. And I am going to cure this, since the white is gel polish, we're going to cure that thumb. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other hand, except for this pinky, we're going to do white drip with red glitter. But it's the same technique. We do like a little circle, and then we drag it down and connect them at the bottom. And then some of the fingers are going to be different. Well, as far as the design is going to be the same thing, but they're just going to be on different fingers. Okay, so we're going to cure that one, and we're going to go back to the first hand. So I'm going to go ahead and do the ombre effect. So I'm using a white regular polish by Madam Glam in the color Forbidden Miniskirt, and the red Dragon Fire, which is also the regular polish. We apply it on the makeup wet sponge, and it is dry. I get that question a lot. It's just straight at the package, and we apply the polish and just dab it on the nail. You want to do this as many times as you want. Usually it takes no more than 2 times, depending on how the color is. If it's too light, I might have to go back and do it a 3rd time, but most of the time I just do 2 coats. And I'm going ahead and wiping around that cuticle area before it dries. And after that, I'm going to go back in with the Perfect White gel polish, and I'm going to do a 2nd coat on that thumb, and we're going to cure it for another 30 seconds. We're going to go back to the other hand and do the same ombre effect. So same thing for the other hand, we're just applying the polish on the sponge, and as you can see I always do the bottom color first, which is the red one, and then I do the white one over it. That way it blends well whenever I apply it on the nail. And then again, you just do this 2 or 3 times. It's always going to be different depending on what colors you use, but I'm going to go ahead and just dab it on the nail, and don't worry about getting it on the skin, because as you've seen I just go back around and clean it up with a gel brush, or just with a brush and some acetone, or you could use the little latex glue, I guess. I don't know if it's glue or just latex, but you do it around the cuticle area, and then afterwards you just literally peel it off, whatever works for you, but I'll just like doing this. So we're going to do a second coat on this middle finger as well with the perfect white, and then we're going to go back over to that first hand and we're going to do the marble effect. So I'm using the regular polish in the color Dragon Fire. We're just drawing a couple of lines, and with my brush with acetone we're just going to dab those lines to create that marble effect. I'm going to come back and retrace those lines again, and then usually I come back and dab them again, but she told me to just leave them how they work. She just liked them like that. So after that, I am going to be applying some bling on the ring finger. So I'm going to be using some bigger pieces as well as the smaller bling. So I'm using my hard gel for the big pieces. I'm going to use my wax pencil to pick them up, and I'm just going to do a little cluster right in the center of the nail, closer to the cuticle area though. And then as always, this hard gel does have to be cured, so just add however much you want, and since they were a little bit bigger, that's why I went ahead and added a little bit more hard gel. And again, since this is actual gel, it does have to be cured, and usually I do like 30 to 60 seconds, whatever works for you. So we're going to go ahead and let that cure, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other hand. So we lay our hard gel down, and then with our wax pencil we just pick up the big pieces, just position them however you want, and then we cure them for 30 to 60 seconds. So after we cure those, we're going to go back and we're going to be using our Mia Secret Gel Resin. I'm going to be using a mixture of red bling, so it's all different sizes. I believe it's like from a 12 and down. So I'm using my wax pencil to pick those up, and as always I just start around the perimeter of the nail and then just fill in as I go, and then I alternate from the different sizes. And then I'm also going to be throwing in some of my AB SS12 bling in there, just so it's not all red, because we're going to be doing some of the AB ones on the other nail as well, so we want it to kind of match. And as always, just go in and just add more gel, or sorry, not more gel, but more glue as you need it, and just filling the rest of the nail. And once I'm done placing the bling, I always go back around with that same Mia Secret Gel Resin, and I go back and put it around the bling, and then I spray it with the activator. So for this one, I'm just going to be doing bling like closer to the cuticle area, all the way to like where the natural nail starts. So I'm gonna do my same technique. I go around that cuticle area and then fill in as I go. And again, these are my AB, SS6 and SS12, and I'm only doing half of the nail with this. Alrighty, so same thing for this hand. We're going to go in and do a scattered technique on this one with the red and with the AB rhinestones. For the ring finger, we're going to fill in the whole nail with the red and the AB rhinestones. And then for the index finger, we're going to go in and just do the AB rhinestones. And we're only doing half of the nail. And we're using our Mia Secret Gel Resin, their activator, and the wax pencil. Alrighty, so yes, my phone did go dead in the middle of me recording, so we're just gonna go ahead and skip over to the top coat. So I'm using my IBD gel top coat, and yes, I am sealing around the bling nails with the top coat as well, just to make sure that they stay on really good. Again, this is my IBD gel top coat, the same one that I always use, and then we're gonna cure each hand for 60 seconds. And then also make sure to go back and clean around their cuticle area if you left any polish on it. But then after that, we're just going in with some clear pineapple cuticle oil. And this is the final look. They turned out really pretty. They're so shiny, and that red is just everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at GetNail32, and I'll see you guys next time.